Hey, everybody.
Hello.
It's so nice to see my team's faces. I can't see our guests, but we can see them rolling in, which is super fun.
Yeah, we'll give everyone just a few more seconds and then we'll jump in.
Hi, Rachel. Hi, Emily. Hi, Jordan. Hi, Gretchen. Oh, they're coming in so fast. Hi, Leela. Hi, Summer. Hi, Emma. Hi, Elizabeth. Hi, Dennis.
Okay, well, we have so many rich insights to share with you all today, so let's jump in and get started as people are still coming through the door. I know we had a lot of attendees registered for this event, so I'm sure we'll have people coming through as we're talking. My name is Aleni. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Base Beauty Creative Agency, and I'm so excited to welcome you to today's event, Creating Intimacy and Impactful Marketing Around the Uncertainty of Social Media. This event, we think, will be the most valuable 30 minutes that you are going to spend today on your brand, helping to position your brand for future success and sales. You are totally welcomed and encouraged to ask your questions throughout the event using the question and answer function or the chat function on the bottom of your screen. You should see two little icons. And we'll have a little time at the end to answer questions. If we don't get to questions, which we might not get to all of them, we will definitely follow up with you after the event. And we will also be sharing the deck, the report that we go through today, as well as a recording of this webinar with you afterwards if you want to share it with your teams or your friends, or just go back and catch it for notes for yourself. So leading the conversation for us today are two beauty and wellness experts, Base Beauty's CEO and founder, Jodi Katz.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us today. This is going to be really fun.
Yes. And Base Beauty's VP of Strategy and Video, Robin Placke.
Hello.
So I'm going to share this screen with the deck. Jodi and Robin, let me know if you can see it.
Yep, okay. I can see it.
Great. All right, then. At Base Beauty, we are beauty and wellness experts who launch brands, who revive brands, and who grow brands. Let me just make this a little bit better sized. Okay. So this workshop today was really born out of our growth mindset. Our holistic marketing optimization and innovation across the 9 different areas of expertise that you can see here breaks down the silos between those different departments so that we can have really effective growth for the brands that we work with. We brought together our team experts on Base Beauty side, as well as several guest leaders in the beauty and wellness spaces and in other executive spaces to think about this topic that we're going over today. And we're so grateful to each of them. So I'll just call them out. Echo Sandberg, the CMO of Elta MD Skincare, Ben Rubinski, the VP and brand partnerships at Stream Elements, Sam Citro, Alexander, the co-founder at CMO Bitewell, and Suyang Kong, the CMO at EOS Products, and then you have the Base Beauty team members below. Okay, so because Base Beauty is really driven by leveraging data to create consumer insights for our clients, we did some research to prime this conversation that I'm going to go over with you just at a top line level. And as a reminder, we will send this deck around. So we asked our thinkers, and we're asking anybody who's here today to think about the uncertainty of social media. And in order to do that, we had to think about why we love social media first, why it has grown to be one of the biggest digital marketing tools in our toolboxes. We think that social media really works when brands use it as a community builder and a way to really connect with their consumers in an authentic way. So just some quick call outs. Of course, we love that the consumer journey can be hyper targeted and trackable on social media. It's a very affordable point of entry for marketers, right? Whether you're a legacy brand or a budding indie brand, you can both make an Instagram page and post content. Today, it has also made shopping for the consumer really easy with the in-shop features and the fact that so many people are now going to social to shop. Okay, so anyone who's attending today who works on the brand side or on the social media side knows that social media is not a tool without trials and tribulations, of course. So this is why as marketers, we do feel a little bit of insecurity about relying solely on social media for our marketing platforms. Some of the pitfalls that we've seen are in the privacy and user agreement controversies. The fact that in order to win against the algorithm, you really have to be formulaic in the content that you're posting. There's a skewed perception of reality on social media. Robin talks about how, she gets a lot of posts in her feed from Jennifer Garner. So in Robin's mind, like, Jennifer Garner is in everyone's feed and everybody knows what Jen Garner is up to, but really that's not the case, right? We're all seeing different things, consuming different images and pieces of content. The costs to compete on social media are really rising. Sometimes you can post the most compelling organic content in the world, but it won't reach your target if you don't have a paid strategy behind it. And the environment on social media is unpredictable because the world is unpredictable, right? So the conversation that you planned might not always be relevant to go live. There's also trolling and negative behavior, which is not a conversation that marketers typically want to cultivate. And finally, the multitude of platforms and assets needed per platform and the communities that you have to manage on each platform, and just all the different things that you have to learn each day to keep up with these changing platforms really creates a big resource drain on marketers. So let me just share two quick brand examples of brands who experience exceptional growth. Elf, I'll start with this one. So since their wildly successful Eyes, Lips, and Face TikTok challenge back in 2019, I have loved watching this brand's marketing. They're extremely active on social media. They're consistently innovating. They are building out personalized platform strategies, and really creating true community through their partnership-driven edutainment content that really resonates with their audience. They have seen incredible growth in sales success as a result of their social media activity. And then on the other hand, we have a brand like Clorox, who is completely inactive on social media, yet has still experienced really exceptional growth. So as a purpose-driven brand, they made a statement last June. They made a decision to pause their marketing on Facebook Inc., so Facebook companies, Facebook and Instagram, and they were going to just pause their marketing there. They also, looks from our research, that they only use Twitter for customer service inquiries and not for content storytelling. So instead, they seem to spend their marketing budget on TV commercials that live on YouTube and in give back programs that are spotlighted on their .com. So how did this brand still do well, without social media? Of course, during the pandemic, people needed a brand like this, a disinfectant brand on hand, but there were still other competitors in the marketplace that were doing social media marketing, and Clorox was not doing it, and they still saw an incredible sales growth. So just some things to think about. Before I turn this over to Jodi to dive into our workshop research, let me just share the results of a little consumer survey that we conducted. So we asked people where they meet brands, and the text bubbles that you see here in pink represent all the social media instances that people were mentioned. So our challenge became consistently more apparent, and I will let Jodi speak to that on the next slide.
Thank you, Aleni. So, we have limited time with our friend group today. So we're going to try to squeeze as much insight and innovative ideas into the next 20 minutes as possible. So I want to tell you what we did on our workshop day. So our workshop was a private workshop, as Aleni mentioned, with 4 brand leaders, friends of the agency, and my team as well. And we brainstormed around 2 topics. The first topic was, how can brands mimic the targeting and intimacy that we see on social media in other touch points? So the mandate for that brainstorm was really about, like, erase your brains that social media is a part of our lives. How do we create intimacy with the customer beyond, the virtual walls of social media? So that was task number 1 of the brainstorm. Task number 2 was, okay, now social media is back a part of our life, but how can we use it in a way that consumers and brands can believe in, right? Like, how do we, sort of push aside the stuff that feels ugly and inappropriate and, really uncertain and insecure, and how do we reuse these platforms in ways that we all feel good about? So that was the task of the team to brainstorm on. We mixed up Base Beauty team members with our friends and had a really lively experience. So we're going to walk into 3 topics that we pulled together from this research, and I'm going to let Robin present solution number 1.
Great. Thanks, Jodi. So yeah, it was a wonderful brainstorm day. I think this theme kept coming up in our brainstorm, which is, who hasn't gone on social media and thought to themselves, where's the humanity, right? Are these people real? If we go to the next slide, you can see just some of the snippets of what we discussed. I think Echo Sandberg said it so well, show real people doing real things and don't go to those unattainable spaces, right? One of the theories of our group was that the glamification of Instagram is over. And if you go to the next slide, we can look at some examples of where consumers really more and more we're seeing that they want to meet the real people behind the Instagram accounts and behind the brands. We loved this side-by-side example on the right. We're seeing Instagrammers acknowledging that there's reality and then there's social media reality. And sometimes the two are very different. An example, this headline, I love it because it totally captures the fact that when people get real, it sort of saves our sanity, because we all know what it feels like to live in this unattainable world. But on the brand side, we have an example of down on the lower left from L to MD, where we had the opportunity for the scientists who developed the products, the skincare and sun care products, to share with our audience what went into it. And we think this was such a successful campaign because it brought forward the humans behind the brand. And our fans really reacted well to this. And also because they felt like they were part of the conversation. The scientist was able to say, you wanted a sunscreen that didn't leave a white cast, here's how we were able to create it. So giving consumers access to experts, the people behind the brands. Another example was from BiteWell, a nutrition-based grocery delivery service, where they're a digital first company, but yet they give consumers, everybody who signs up for their program, access to a one-on-one 15-minute conversation with a nutritionist. So they totally take their brand experience offline, despite the fact of being an online service.
And I want to just layer on one thing that I thought was interesting. So Catherine, who's a new young person on our team, when she first started with us in the first brainstorm meeting she's a part of, she was referring to content on a brand's grid and Instagram as she referred to every single piece of content as an ad. And I kept asking her, like, what are you talking to? What is the ad? Right? I know an ad is something where there's media money placed behind it. But as the consumer and as a young consumer, she just saw all the content the brand was pushing out as ads, right? So I think it goes back into this, like, let's get real topic that is letter A here on Robin's slide. Like the consumer already doesn't believe this stuff. So we really need to start fresh. We need to give them a reason to let us all be humans together and just like push away all that commercialism and marketing. So I think the let's get real is going to be really motivating for brands when they start thinking about how the customer reacts to what they think is organic content. It feels like ads.
That's a great segue to the second idea.
And that second idea I will take. So this is, that's edutainment. So edutainment is something we've been talking about for, I feel like, so long at the agency. And we're so excited that this idea is getting a lot of traction. So Aleni, if you can click on the next slide. Thank you. So I love what So Young had to say here. In the beginning of social media is all about entertainment. And then increasingly, as things have become more commercial, it's turning people off, right? So there really is this craving to feel connection through entertainment and to really move away from that deep commercialism. It almost feels like coupon inserts now, you know, for anyone who's old enough to remember when the coupon inserts would come in the Sunday newspaper, right? Like it just feels like social media has become such a space for ads and coupons, and we really can move for brands who are motivated to do better and do more for their fans, move into this edutainment space. So let's take a look at what that turns into on slide 15. Okay, so make content that feels like a high five. So that's letter A. The idea of content that feels like a high five is actually something that Ben mentioned in our brainstorm. And I thought it was such a great way to summarize that, like, feeling of like, oh, I feel connection, I feel enlightened, I feel happy, I feel heard and seen. So we really want to see brands channel the energy of the brand into the content that makes a consumer smile, right? And helps them learn something new. A great example of this is letter A. You see that Yeti video there. And when you get the deck, you'll be able to click through to view all of the links, all the video links. So Yeti does a series of edutainment that teaches you all about things that are so tied to who they are as a brand, like the outdoor lifestyle. So, I can learn how to clean a fish after going fishing through their video series. It's so entertaining to me, and I'm probably never going to do that, but I get to be part of the spirit of the brand through their content. So they're really serving up to me something that's meaningful from their brand position and their brand mission, but it's also super helpful. It's incredibly entertaining and educating. And to be able to do that without this like push of commercialism is so exciting to the customer. It's like a breath of fresh air. So we're really excited when we see brands do that. And then moving edutainment even further into making edutainment something that's accessible and that I can shop, right? So like that's the ultimate win, is being able to make me feel like part of the brand, make me feel like part of their mission and their story, excite me so much that I like want the product, and then I can get it in that moment. And so if you're not convinced, live streaming e-commerce is poised to reach 25 billion in sales in a minute. So, and I wouldn't be surprised if that happens even faster. So if you look at item B, that's a Clinique live stream. So here we have a celebrity doing a get ready with me video. And, she's really bright and energetic and, having fun with the content and having fun with the audience, and all the products are shoppable in that moment. So she's serving up to me the education, she's serving up to me the entertainment, and then she's making my life easier by letting me get the products in that moment. So we're really excited about that. And then letter C, this idea of certifications, courses, like offering your customers this added value as such a beautiful way to get them into the spirit of your brand. So one of our clients, Blushington, created an academy to help train makeup artists to be more effective business people in their own freelance businesses. So these makeup artists can show off their certifications on social media, grow their own audience, and grow their own clients by saying that they're certified Blushington artists, and use this as a way to really feel like a super intimate part of the Blushington world, even though we're all digital now, and also give herself the credibility and opportunity to grow her own business. So we love it when we see the certifications. The picture on the right of the kids, that's going to the national park and getting your junior ranger badge. So we all know what it feels like to be awarded something, and we think that's a super meaningful opportunity for brands as well. And then live is the future. So if you're not talking about live in your brands, start doing it at what time? Noon today. So Twitch, YouTube Live, there's lots of places where live content is consumed. So a great example of how to make live content powerful is to think of it in two ways. There's the live component where you're sharing live in that moment with your audience, but then you're going to record that content. You're going to save it and you're going to repurpose it later to make sure the story continues. So we did this with Pause While Aging, which is a skincare brand. We launched it at a comedy club where we had female comedians doing all these amazing bits about menopause, which is the focus of the brand. So we live streamed that event, which is like a unique, never before done sort of comedy event. But then we took all that content, turned it into these incredible comedic sound bites that turned into a whole awareness ad campaign on Facebook. So we want to make sure that we're serving our customer in two ways: the live way in that moment, so she feels like part of that magic, and then secondarily as a follow-up where she can almost get like the highlight reel, right? So think of it as like live sports. You watch the live sports, so you watch the live baseball game, but then you might tune in later to a wrap-up show to see like the highlights of the games and the highlights of the day. So be thinking that way for your brands as well. So next, I think it's time to learn more about how to solve for this with Robin, with what's old is new again.
Yeah, so this was our third theme. And the more ideas that we talked about, the more we realized some of this is kind of not new, but feels really fresh. And maybe because we're digitally fatigued, but some of the ideas that we talked about to create intimacy, we're going back and maybe doing them in a new way. And I think, Jodi, that shoppable content idea that you just talked about, that's really home shopping, just in a new digital way. So if you go to the next slide, I loved this quote from Sam Citro in our brainstorm. She said, "What about a phone call?" Like, so simple, maybe for the right brand that makes sense, and can really make the consumer feel really good about the brand. Some other brand examples that we shared, we talked about brands that are living their values. Oops, I'm seeing the other slide. Yeah. We talked about brands that are living their values through all these touch points, offline, handwritten notes, voicemails, even gifts. This Chewy example, I could even argue that it belongs in the humanity category because it's so thoughtful. They send handwritten sympathy cards and painted pet portraits if a pet passes away. What a way to connect with the consumer and continue that relationship. Or American Express is using direct mail. We probably haven't thought about direct mail a whole lot for many brands in the last several years, but it's growing, and American Express is surprising their most loyal consumers with valuable gift cards. And as the points guy said in his review of it, he said, "What a surprise," and definitely helps justify the amount of money I'm spending on this annual membership. The other one that we talked about a lot was those forums and community boards, right? So there are brands that we're seeing taking their community and those rich conversations that they're having about the brand, but bringing them to the website, their own sites. So those chats that were previously happening on social, they're moving these conversations, they're owning those conversations and hosting them on their platform. Sephora's platform gets, I don't know, they have millions of followers that contribute every day. Lego is another great example outside of the beauty industry where any member of the community can post what they've created, and the community members can comment. And, the tone of it is so in line with Lego's ethos, right? It's creative, it's positive. And Jodi, that's, to your point earlier about, pulling away the negativity. This is a really one way that we've seen brands do it.
Hey, Robin, before we pull off the slide, I just want to talk about the direct mail piece because I'm a huge fan of direct mail. I love direct mail. But, American Express very easily could have emailed you a gift card, right? They could have just sent the email saying, "Hey, thanks for being a loyal customer. Here's an email and a link to be able to spend the gift card." But they chose to put it in an envelope in the mail because there's something that is really special about that tactile intimacy that you get. Right? It used to be a drag because there was so much direct mail. Now that there is really not as much of it, it's really like kind of a space that's open for creativity now. So I love that they actually made it tactile and like not an abstract experience, but a really meaningful one.
Right. I mean, when you think about the time for digital interaction, it's quick. This is going to sit with you. It's going to be part of you. And you really, I actually got one of these, and the feeling was that it was a gift from a friend. I went and used it at the store just like I would if somebody gave me a gift card for my birthday. So it was a very memorable, longer term interaction for sure.
So you think we should offer a bonus idea to our fans?
Definitely.
So bonus solution, ding, ding, ding. We told you to have 3 ideas. We really wanted to present this bonus solution because we understand that resource drain is a concern for marketers, right? If you're the CMO and you have a limited budget and a limited team, how do you do all of this? But we really wanted to reinforce that platform diversification is important. We're calling it many eggs, many baskets. So it's kind of one of those things like this is the world we live in now. It's just a matter of fact. So we really need to be looking at this instead of with disdain and exhaustion, with an opportunistic mindset, and really think about, we have many baskets, we do have many eggs, maybe I don't have as many eggs as I want, but I really probably do have enough eggs to be able to start building meaningful relationships in different places. So let's look at the next slide. Here, I love Ben encouraging us to use Reddit as a way to glean insights. It's almost like having focus groups at your fingertips, and taking those insights and creating meaningful strategies on other platforms, maybe TikTok and Twitch. So let's look at what that might look like on slide 21. So here's a chance we're empowering you to break the addiction from Facebook and Instagram. And we know that it will be hard, but we do encourage you to start slowly, shave off some investment and test new strategies. So take a small amount of the budget that you're using in Facebook and Instagram, move it into live video, maybe other platforms, test and evaluate. We really encourage our clients and our friends to start looking at the marketing space with understanding that the algorithm drives success, but saying to ourselves, it's okay if we experiment and lose a little bit of that success metric because we're going to be staying ahead of the curve. So we have to sacrifice a little bit in like some of those numbers and all the zeros in front of that percentage sign to be able to innovate. So if you can have that conversation with your team, that you acknowledge that some of those key KPIs will change, we're going to be able to relax a little bit more, understand the algorithm, but try new things and create innovation for your team, like we've seen from some of the brands that Aleni presented. So let's rethink LinkedIn. We love LinkedIn. I mean, LinkedIn is where my people are. I have my podcast where brains meet beauty, and like my people are there. So LinkedIn is really important to me. And we used to see it as just a place to find a job, right? And it didn't feel like an awesome place to be in, but it's really evolved. It's really truly a community. There's so much opportunity to cross promote and share in positive ways. And, you can do so much more than just like post your resume there. You can support your organization's CSR commitments, recruitment commitments, show the human side of the brand. And it's really a great place for an audience to fall in love with your brand without any selling. So you're actually like selling to your future customers in a really soft way. So they'll not just want to buy your product, but they'll want to work at your company. And like, what better endorsement is there than that? And then the other idea here is building insights on Reddit. This is like a huge missed opportunity for a lot of brands. There's juicy social listening insights happening here. So, you don't have to be active on Reddit as a brand. You can just use it as a research tool. So you'll learn about new trends and the best way to get into the minds of your customer. So we're really excited about that too.
Great, and I think that takes us to the end of our deck. We don't have a ton of time, but I do have a few good questions. Jodi, this first one's for you. Okay. Instead of moving off of Facebook and Instagram, can we just apply your solutions to those platforms?
Absolutely. Definitely apply these ideas to the platforms that you're comfortable with. I would encourage you to move your leadership into a position where they're like ready to innovate though. So maybe the first place to start is to say, okay, this is not about commercialism. This is about community building. This is about connection. This is about entertainment, and really start to take these ideas, adapt them to ways that your Facebook and your Instagram audiences will respond to. So think about platform personalization. Your audiences are probably pretty different on those two platforms. So create content that's really right and meaningful for them. And then maybe when you can show and prove the results of that, you can convince your leadership to start trying some of these tactics in other places as well.
Great. Thank you. Okay. And then one more question. I think this one can go to either of you. Do you think these solutions can translate to paid strategies as well?
Absolutely. I mean, we do that all the time. Like Robin's building ad after ad. I don't know if you recognize in the beginning, but Aleni introduced Robin as head of strategy and video. And that's for a reason, because all of our motion content is so built on insights now, it's impossible to separate them. So we've had so much success in taking these strategies and moving them to paid. So sure, the content's going to be shorter for paid, right? We're going to have to kind of reformat the way that we present some of these stories. But, everything we do at our agency is paid first. Whether there is actually money being put behind it or not is really like irrelevant during the content optimization process. We're always thinking about how do we make this content so meaningful that it would work so hard and paid. And that really then ultimately pays off, of course, in organic and boosting and things as well. So yeah, go for it.
Great. Okay, well, I think that takes us to the end of our time together. So like we mentioned in the beginning, we will share this deck and a recording with all of you. And if you have any follow-up questions, you can reach any of us at just our first name @basebeauty.com. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Bye.
Bye.